Welcome back, everybody. This is Steve Williams. Thank you for tuning in to segment 3 of the Steve and Bobby Show. I appreciate you. This is show 42. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Check this out. Okay, so let's go on things you may have missed, okay? We've got the impeachment inquiry going on, of course. It's like the 4th week, a month that this impeachment inquiry is going. So there might be some things that you may have missed that are very important that happened during the week. So this is what my little, I like to bring these, I only put the top stuff because there is a lot of stuff that's going on, but there are some important stuff that's going on as well. So Stephen Miller, this is Stephen Miller right here, okay? That's Stephen Miller there, okay? Now, if you guys don't know who that guy is, he is the senior White House advisor to Donald Trump, okay? So this guy has been outed as a white nationalist, okay? Of course, Stephen Miller, if you guys don't know who he is, he's the one that's doing the Muslim ban. He is the one that wrote the protocol for that for Donald Trump. He's the one that's doing the immigration policy on the south of the border. He's part of that. This guy is a pure white nationalist. He's working in the White House as Donald Trump's White House advisor. So this guy he's very important within, and he is going to like DHS, and he's going to ICE and Border Patrol, writing all these new policies that are basically racist types of policies in pertaining to trying to keep brown people out and trying to promote more white individuals or Caucasian or Europeans into the United States. Take a listen.
Stephen Miller has had a reputation of being an extreme anti-immigrant hardliner, going back to when he first, was, identified as somebody coming into the White House, which was January 2016. But I think this puts it in a totally different context for people when you really analyze it, because shows that he's really embedded in the entire white nationalist, cultural nationalist movement, which has a lot of grand ambitions about increasing white immigration into the U.S. and decreasing non-white immigration to the U.S. based upon, quite frankly, eugenics and race science.
And this fear that the white race is being replaced, right? Is that sort of at the core of some of it?
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely at the core of it. I mean, he referenced VDARE, American Renaissance. These are websites that traffic in the white genocide, great replacement theory that we see attached to so many of these mass shootings and acts of terrorism that have taken place, from New Zealand to El Paso to Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh.
By the way, Stephen Miller is still in the White House. He's still an advisor. This story came out on Saturday. He's still there. If you need any other more indication of this Trump administration and their just their outright racism, I mean, there you go. There's a policy. That guy's the head policymaker for immigration for Donald Trump. He writes all his immigration policy. So, whatever. So that's where we're at. And I'm so sick and tired of people telling me that Donald Trump and his administration isn't racist. I don't know about Donald Trump himself, but I know his policies and some of the stuff that he does are very racist. And you can see why, because some of his policymakers are in white nationalist groups. So anyway, I want you guys to see this. We're going to be moving on this other one. We got this one's kind of a crazy story, okay? So there's these 2 state troopers that are trying to help this lady, this female, change the flat tire in her vehicle, okay? Or they're trying to change the flat tire outside her vehicle, right? Take a look at what happens when they were on the side of the freeway. Take a look.
We're going 1947. We just had a box truck fly off in the road and hit us. I'm okay. I was 1 female injured in the ditch. Zach, are you alright? Ambulance out. Zach, you good? Zach, are you okay? Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me?
To show you guys that, because that was crazy. I saw that on the news and I was like, what was that? That's crazy. But hey, good thing on that. Any of that story was pretty good. Nobody hurt, seriously hurt. I mean, it was slight injuries, all released in the hospital that day, including the truck driver. The truck driver was cited for going too fast. I don't know. I've driven that. It looks worse in the sense when that truck was moving over like that, then it seems as though the truck driver was only going, I think he was going 46 or 47 miles an hour, which was still unsafe for that condition, I guess. But that was a result. Scary stuff. So let's move on. Now, I did a story about 5-6 weeks ago about California and its fight against the Trump administration and some of their emission policies and converting some of these cars into emission standards. Now, California, the state of California, four car manufacturers have now tried to side with the Trump administration not doing some of these emission policies, and this has ticked off Gavin Newsom, and he went after Donald Trump, and so now Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom are bumping heads on this issue. The four car manufacturers are GM, Chrysler, Toyota, Nissan. All the rest of the manufacturers have agreed to these car emission standards, but those four who have sided with the Trump administration. And it's mainly because they're not far along enough in their hybrid vehicles and stuff like that to be competitive with other market value cars like Mercedes-Benz and BMW and some of these other manufacturers. And it's causing some friction within the car manufacturing organization. So California basically said, look, you don't get these emission standards straight, you're not going to be allowed to sell cars in the state, period. And it's just going to be, that's how it's going to be. So they're going to have to conform because Donald Trump is only going to be president for so long. I'm pretty sure they understand this. But I want you to take a look at this story as when Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump were going back and forth on this issue. Take a look.
What have you heard from the auto manufacturers on this? But they have been in favor of these higher standards.
Yeah, that's the great irony. Who's he helping? Who is Donald Trump actually helping? He's not helping those four companies that have voluntarily agreed to California's higher standard. By the way, there would be more than four companies, Don, had he not now used the Department of Justice to do an inquiry as it relates to antitrust. That has chilled the other companies from joining California's standards. That's the nature of the reality we're living in. You have the President of the United States that is in a party that feigns that they support free enterprise, and they're calling CEOs to the mat and threatening them and using the Department of Justice to go after them to keep them from doing what they think is in their best interest and in their customers' best interest.
The GOP has always stood, at least they say they stood for states' rights, right? Yet this is a Republican administration exerting its authority over your state. Why do you think this is happening?
Federalism be damned, state rights, 10th Amendment be damned. Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon be damned. Remember, the origins of this were Ronald Reagan, 1967, when he wanted to clean up the air down in Los Angeles, the smog. It led to the Clean Air Act in 1970.
5, 4, 3, 2. Crazy how Ronald Reagan's name keeps coming up, huh? Ronald Reagan would be a modern day liberal, basically. And Ronald Reagan is the conservatives' God. I mean, they still consider him. You go turn to Rush Limbaugh and his radio program, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson. They're always talking about Ronald Reagan and the birth of conservatism and how they congratulate him. But Ronald Reagan was the birth of Clean Air Act because of the way Los Angeles looked back in the 60s with all the smog. So something had to be done. And the only way to do that is to put stricter emission standards on these vehicles. So anyway, that's it. I don't know where the Republican Party is now. They're all over the place on some of these issues. And, you got Donald Trump in there he's only loyal to money and finances. That's all Donald Trump is loyal to. So anyway, let's move on. So we had a somewhat of a very sad moment that happened here in the city that I'm in, which is Fresno, California. Fresno, California has a very, very, very large Hmong community here. Many of the Hmongs that are here within our community, as well as Laotian and some other groups that are here, help the United States fight many wars in Vietnam and some of the secret wars in Laos and Cambodia. Okay, so a lot of the Asian community that you see here in our area, as well as Minnesota, a lot of these were immigrants that were actually not, they're political asylum seekers, because a lot of these individuals were targeted by North Vietnamese communists or in the north, and when they were able to win that war, they were targeted within the country. So a lot of those individuals escaped, came to the United States, and are now here living among us, all of us. Okay, now our Hmong community is thriving. It's doing wonderful things. A lot of the Hmong communities, Bobby Bliatu, my partner here, KP, the producer of this show, are all from the Hmong community, and they contribute a lot here, and not only here too. Minnesota has a big population as well, but now they're doctors and lawyers and army officers and military. They are in almost all aspects of our community and are by definition full Americans. And they recently, within this past weekend, were targeted. And there were 4 killed and 6 injured, 10 total shot victims here in Fresno, California. Now, they don't know who the perpetrator is. They don't know what the situation is. And I'm not here to sit here and try to tell you like I know. I don't know what happened. The law enforcement don't even know what happened yet, or at least it's not being reported yet. But I think it's very important when these types of situations happen to realize that there are these communities here that are doing what they can and provide what they can as American citizens, and are doing very well. And we often tend to forget these communities because we bring them in as our own family, as our own friends. They're our neighbors, they're police officers, there are doctors, there are lawyers. We hire them for all kind of different stuff, and they're in all aspects of our community. And it breaks my heart that it was targeted. I don't know if it was a Hmong targeted situation. I don't know. I don't know if it was someone that was targeting that population in particular. I don't know if it was someone that had a grudge on someone within. It was actually a party that was going on here in Fresno. They were watching a football game. They were all just having fun, doing some stuff. There were people inside watching some games, and there was people in the back watching games, and the individual went on the side of the house, came in through the back and started firing on the individuals that are in the back. There were about 30 people in the back. He hit 10 of them. And it's just a sad moment. This is the kind of stuff that we don't like to see happen in any community, but especially our Hmong community, who tends to be more quiet in this area. They're very law-abiding. They're just good people. And it's so unfortunate that this happened in that community, and our hearts go out to them. I think I have a video. I want you to watch the video of this just really quick, because I think it's important to know exactly kind of what happened. This was actually on Saturday before any more other news came out, but they don't really have any more information more than what you're about to see now. Take a look.
35 people were gathered in the backyard of a home to watch football. At some point, the group was ambushed by gunfire, and this party of family and friends turned into a scene of chaos and confusion. In all, 10 people were shot when police say a suspect or suspects snuck into the backyard of the home and opened fire. 4 people were killed. 6 victims were taken to the hospital but expected to be okay. Detectives went door to door overnight searching for witnesses and possible security camera footage. Police say at this time there is no indication the victims knew the suspect or suspects. All 10 victims were Asian males between 25 and 35 years old. Police say there were several women and children at this party. None of them were injured. Federal agents from San Francisco are now assisting in the investigation, and police have not said at this point what type of weapon was used in the attack. A motive is also unclear. As a precaution, police have increased patrols in the area this morning.
As a real quick correction note, I had said it was Saturday. It actually happened on Sunday Night Football. So our hearts go out to them. It really does. And, just being part of this community, it just breaks my heart on so many different levels. So hopefully they'll be able to find who that perpetrator was, and some justice can go to those families. So anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching segment 3 of the Steve and Bobby Show. Again, we film here at the Mad Talk TV studios here in Fresno, California. I really, really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you guys tune in next week. We try to get these videos out. Our producer KP tries to get these things out. He's he's got a million things he always does. So he tries to get them out as soon as possible. He's been really good at putting these out the same day. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will talk to you guys next week. Appreciate y'all.